Hi everyone, my name is Catherine from MR Consultancy. What we're going to cover today is a video to help you build rapport at a non-verbal level. Why is this so important? Because non-verbal communication actually accounts for 93% of the message that's being delivered. So today we're going to cover 4 different areas of how to use these tools and techniques to help you win more business. Posture, gestures, proximity, and touch are the 4 main elements that you need when it comes to building non-verbal rapport. Now, the person that we're going to discuss or reference most often today is Dr. Milton Erickson. Now, Dr. Erickson was a psychologist and psychiatrist who was amazing at building rapport, and he taught a technique called matching and mirroring. Today, we're going to focus on how to mirror somebody and how to mirror more specifically their behaviors. So mirroring can best be described as a non-verbal way of saying, I look like you, I am just like you, to the other person. And people like people who are like them. Just think about it for a second. Who are your friends? Are they people who like the same things you do? Now, given that you might have a few things that you don't exactly like that the other person does. But generally speaking, we like people who are like us or who we would like to be like. So for example, if you're an athlete or you're a speaker or you're a business person, maybe you start carrying the characteristics of the person you want to be like. This is an excellent way of describing mirroring. Have you ever seen somebody yawn and you had no need to yawn, but all of a sudden after seeing them yawn, you had a desire to yawn? I'm going to try very hard not to. This is a way, a non-threatening way of saying to somebody else that I'm just like you. And we do it unconsciously now. Mirroring is also an excellent way of showing your customer, your prospect or your client that there's no hierarchy, that you are just like them and they're just like you. So quite often when we're the business person, for example, if we're a salesperson or we are somebody who's more qualified than they are, then it can create an unspoken hierarchy level, and they have to feel, or they often feel, like they have to come up to our level or that we're speaking down to them. Now, mirroring somebody's behavior or becoming like a mirror to them is the best way that you can say to the person that I'm just like you, you can trust me. Now, we always use this in a proper and ethical way, only ever in the best interests of the other person to help them actually get what they want. So let's talk about how you could mirror somebody's posture. So for example, as you can see in this video, that I am sitting quite upright. Now I'm sitting quite upright and quite forward in my chair. But if I was sitting with a client and my client was sitting back like this and very relaxed, if I'm sitting up like this, that's an unspoken way of saying that we are different. So if I want to be in rapport or feel connected to my client, or more importantly, my client feel connected to me, the next time I went to speak, then I would also sit a bit further back in my chair. Now, if the person's quite slouched and, sitting like this, you don't necessarily have to mirror them exactly, but just sitting back in my chair and wiggling a little bit forward so I'm more like them sends an unconscious message or an unspoken message that I'm just like you. So posture is a great way of communicating to the other person just by following what they do. Posture is so important because somebody who sits upright like this in their chair and somebody who sits back in there just like this in their chair sends a very different message. Now you need to be the leader after you have become the follower. So most importantly, you need to learn to follow first, then lead. When mirroring, it's always important to follow what your client or customer does first. And then after about 5 or 10 minutes, if you were to shift forward in your chair, just notice how they move and if they follow you. This is what we call pacing and leading, and we will touch more on this in another video. Next, I want to go on to gestures. So we all have little funny ways of communicating what we do in trying to say something. Like we'll do something funny with our hands when we're trying to communicate a message. And we'll say, oh, you know, that thing, you know, the thing that I'm talking about. Or when I think, oh, how about we do this? And if you've got to watch your client to see what they do. And if you agree or you think that they should do something similar, you could say, that's great, but how about we do this instead? And just do the same funny little gesture that they just made. It sends, again, the same unspoken message that I am just like you. This builds trust, this builds a feeling of connection, and this builds credibility on your part to say, why should I go with you as a business owner? Because you are just like me. The next thing we're going to touch on is proximity. So for example, everybody has their own sense of space. In a social environment where you're with your friends, it might be much closer than you're comfortable or that your client's comfortable than in a business environment. But if they want to be close to you and you pull back, that instantly breaks rapport because you're saying, I'm afraid of you, I don't want to be that close to you, and they'll back off. So if they get close or they're comfortable with being close, then get close with them. In the controversy, like in the opposite, if they don't want to be close to you, it's because they don't feel comfortable yet in having you in their space. And that might be true for you as a business owner, for their friends, for their family. They're just not a person who likes to have people near them. Now we're going to cover touch. Now touch is super important, and you can build a lot of rapport with people just simply by touching them. In a business environment, typically in professionalism, touch is most often occurring when we're shaking hands or greeting the person. So when greeting the person, the easiest way you can do it is wait to feel the strength of their handshake or their touch. You need to follow what they do, become like a mirror to that person so that they feel safe enough to trust you. I hope that you go out and apply these 4 different tools. Now, obviously we've touched on them very, very briefly because unfortunately I don't have the time to go through them on a YouTube video of just how important this is. If you want to know more and you are interested in building rapport, we are going to do a series of videos on YouTube that you can watch, or I would highly recommend, if you're in Melbourne, come along to one of our live events or check out our online coaching program for those of you who are interstate. Rapport is such a key element in connecting in business, and I find it hugely valuable to share with you as well as people that you know. So guys, please take this video, like it, share it. We'd love to hear your feedback. If you've got any questions, please let us know. And we hope to see you at our next live event. Have a great day.